Hey everyone, a very good morning. I am back. Hope you all had a great week last week. I was very ill last week. I had a very bad virus, but luckily I'm feeling much better again. Still a little bit of a cough and a cold, but I'm sure that this week I will be back on top. So with that said, let's just dive into our old ritual and see what the market has been doing and what it is going to be doing for the day ahead. Starting off with the dollar index. The dollar index hasn't really done that much last week. As we can see, just pretty much consolidating over here on the daily. Daily is still in a bullish trend. However, we have been reacting to this daily area of supply, which lays inside a weekly area of supply. And that's why we also saw that weekly bearish close last week. And this could mean that we are going to see some further downside in the near future in towards these areas of demand on the daily, which I called last week. So we have kind of this range demand located over here from where we saw this big thrust up in towards the highs. And we also have this sell before the big buy over here, which is also an area of demand. So those are the two areas that I'm going to be looking at if we do see a further push down on the dollar index. For now, 4 hour is still just consolidating, not much going on. But again, I would not be surprised if we do see a tank down further in towards the downside on the dollar index. Then looking at the 4 hour, we do have some nice areas of 4 hour demand. So I'm just going to draw them as a zone. So we have zone number 1 and zone number 2. These lay inside of those daily areas of demand. So if we do see a push down lower, I will be keeping my eyes out for these two zones. So yeah, that is that from the dollar index. And let's head over to our first pair, which is Aussie dollar. So Aussie dollar is still in a bearish daily trend, as we can see. At the moment, what we're pretty much just waiting for is a push up higher once more, take out the liquidity high, dive in towards that daily area of supply stacked with a weekly area of supply, and then see a further sell-off in towards the downside. That's pretty much what I'm going to be keeping my eyes out for. Diving in towards the 4 hour for now as well. 4 hour is not that interesting. We don't really have any clear areas of supply located over here. Of course, we have this big buy before the sell, but as we can see, we already reacted to that in the past. So it doesn't really mean anything in my opinion. So I'll just be waiting for these higher levels of price. Also, we have a nice area of 4 hour supply located inside that daily area of supply. So for now, that holds my preference before really engaging with any shorts. At the moment, what is happening, this is your swing low, this is your swing high. And if this high were to get broken, that means that this becomes your swing low. And then essentially, if we see a close above, we see a push in towards that supply zone. You can take, of course, the more aggressive trade over here. So let's say you see a trend switch of some sort like this, then of course you could look for those shorts, even though the swing structure is bullish. But yeah, just trade the internal structure, I would say. Otherwise, you have to wait all the way for this low to get broken before you really have that bearish swing structure and can start looking for those real shorts. That is, of course, just a safer option. So if you want to trade safely, make sure to do that. So with that said, let's go to euro dollar. And euro dollar. So euro dollar is currently in a 4 hour bearish swing leg. We're currently at the maximum of the range, or at the premium of the range. So at the moment, what I'm pretty much just going to be waiting for is a push up a little bit higher and then wait for that push down. So diving in towards the details of this 4 hour, we had a 4 hour high over here, which got broken by this low. So that means that we saw, or have now seen, a 4 hour bearish chalk by breaking this low over here. So that now means that from this high to this low, you have a 4 hour bearish internal swing range. So then drawing in the premium versus discount tool, what you can see is that you're just waiting for price to dive into it. Then let's say you wait for price to dive in towards this supply zone. As we can see, it's not fresh anymore. But if we then look at the 15 minute, do we have anything fresh? No, not really, I would say. Let me see, buy before the sell. Did it already get touched over here? Yeah, it already got touched to absolute perfection, as we can see. So nothing really interesting on euro dollar for me personally, but I will be keeping my eyes out for further shorts once we kind of pull back in towards here and then look for further downside, as we have now seen a bearish 4 hour chalk, which makes the internal structure now also align with the overall swing structure. So yeah, that is that from the 4 hour. Quickly looking at the daily, we've been reacting to this daily demand zone, which lies inside this weekly demand zone. So that is pretty much why price has been moving up higher. And it could mean that we are still going to see some higher prices. Just keep that in mind. But yeah, for now, just following the 4 hour swing and chalk structure. And that is telling me that we are most likely going to be heading further in towards the downside. So that said, let's go to pound dollar. And pound dollar. So pound dollar still have a drawing on here. We get that out of the way. For pound dollar at the moment, what's been going on is that we are inside weekly demand. That's what we've been reacting to. So daily is still very messy, no real clear areas of daily demand. However, we kind of had this sell candle over here in which there is apparently some demand because that's what we're reacting to, and we're currently seeing that push up. So at the moment, this is your daily swing range from this high down towards this low, and we kind of want to target the 50% mark, right, the equilibrium, because that's a lot of times where price is going to be moved towards. So if we then look at the 4 hour, we can see, okay, 4 hours in a bearish structure. So this is your high, this is your low. At the moment, we're still bearish swing wise, but once we close above this high, 4 hour then becomes bullish. So once we see close above it, I'll be waiting for a potential pullback, potentially once we take out these highs, because then we have some clear liquidation, see that pullback, and then wait for, let's say, a nice demand zone, and then look for further longs to long GU further up in towards those daily areas of supply and the daily premium after coming from this weekly area. And on the daily, we have some nice supply zones over here and over here. So that's pretty much what I'm going to be waiting for. So yeah, that is that from pound dollar. Let's have Kiwi dollar. And Kiwi dollar. So Kiwi dollar is now in a bullish trend. Over here, this high got closed above on Friday, which means that the daily is now bullish. And we are expecting a pullback at a certain point in time, because after a break of structure, what do we expect? We expect a pullback. So where do we expect a pullback from? Well, we expect a pullback from an area of supply. So at the moment, I'm waiting for this supply zone, and then I'll be looking for a potential short from there. So yeah, that is Kiwi dollar. Let's head over to our last pair, which is gold. And gold, so still getting a lot of questions about gold, but gold for me personally is just a very messy pair at the moment. So what I'll be waiting for at this current stage of time is for a push further down, and then look for longs once again in towards the 2000 region once again, because in my opinion, gold is just a little bit overextended, and I would prefer to see a nice trade from here. But yeah, for the rest, I mean, gold doesn't really have any nice demand zones except for this weekly zone over here. And as we can then see, this is pretty much the sell before the big buy. So there's a lot of demand inside of there. And it also kind of took out this trend line. So that's why for me personally, I'm going to be waiting for this weekly demand zone at, what is it? 1853 down towards 1770 or 1780. So then I look inside of that weekly demand zone. Then I see, okay, well, we have this daily demand zone, which is fresh. We also, by the way, have this daily demand zone, which is fresh. So I'll just be waiting for those zones to go long from. So wait for price to get into there, then look for like 15-minute structure changing, and then look for longs. That is my game plan. So yeah, that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in once again. Really glad to do these sessions again. Really missed it last week. And yeah, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And I wish you all a fantastic day. Thanks, guys.